Good morning and welcome to virtual worship at First Parish Truro United Church of Christ. I'm Reverend Chad Kidd.
I'm Reverend Dr. Anastasia Kidd, and we are the co-pastors here at First Parish. And today is a very special day where we widen our welcome mat to include our four-legged and our finned and our feathered friends, as well as our scaled and slithering friends too. As we'll be hearing from the virtual choir a little later on, all God's critters got a place in the choir here at First Parish.
Yes, that is right. So cuddle up with your favorite animals because today is indeed a special day as we gather to celebrate the abundant, gracious, and diverse gift of creation and the relationships within this gift, especially those animal relationships we all love. We'll do some reflecting this morning about what our animals can teach us about the divine and about spiritual wellness.
We also want to make a special welcome to anyone who's joining us from the First Congregational Church of Reading, United Church of Christ in Reading, Massachusetts, again this week. First Church Reading is our home church when we aren't here in Truro, so we're especially happy to welcome all of the people and pets joining us from there in Reading, especially Reverend Amelia, who will reflect on her kitty, Oliver, as part of our service this morning. We're so happy to welcome you all.
Looking ahead to next Sunday, we want to make sure that you're aware that the Friends of the Truro Meeting House will be hosting a wonderful Zoom event on Sunday, August 16th at 5 p.m., Truro time, that is. Historian Robert Allison will address the creation of America's Constitution and the wide divisions at the time on a number of vexing questions unsettled even till this day. So it'll be very intriguing. You'll definitely want to make time to tune into that. To gather some more information on this program and to get the Zoom link info, visit the Friends website at truromeetinghousefriends.org.
First Parish Truro is an open and affirming congregation of the United Church of Christ, which means that our welcome mat is as wide as it can possibly be. So welcome. Welcome no matter who you are or where you are on life's journey. Welcome no matter who you love or who loves you. Welcome to those with dander allergies like me and to those who let their dogs lick them on the mouth. Welcome to cat people and snake people and hamster people. Welcome to every stray, everyone who's ever been cast aside or have had to struggle to find a family. Welcome to those who are holding your beloved pets in your arms or just in the tender memories of times past. Here we welcome each and every one because we are all creatures beloved in the eyes of our Creator God. And even though our building remains closed this summer, here, this morning, we are the church, vibrant and virtual. So welcome home.
Welcome home. Please join us in our call to worship. Your response, which will also appear on the screen, is "This is a gathering for all people." Let's begin our call to worship by saying that aloud together.
This is a gathering for all people, for the two-legged people and the four-legged people, for the winged and the belly crawlers. This is a gathering for all people,
for the tree people and the water people, for the people of earth and sky.
This is a gathering for all people, for the furry people and the scaly people, for the bald and for the feathered, for the big-bodied people and the tiniest of people.
This is a gathering for all people. All are welcome here to worship together in the beauty of creation. Amen.
Amen. In virtual worship, our usual passing of the peace time looks a little different than it usually does. I know we all wish we could reach through the computer right now to shake hands or to give each other a hug.
If we were together as we usually are in Truro, we'd be walking around, scratching ears and patting heads today, and we'd probably greet the animals a little bit too. But even though we have physical distance between us this morning, we can use technology to help spread greetings and the peace of Christ. So if you're watching with us on Facebook, you can go ahead and hit the like button or the heart emoji and leave a comment for your friends. Maybe even tag a picture of you and your pet attending worship together. And if you're here on Zoom, let us all put up our hands or our paws to the screen to wave and bless one another. Feel free to use the chat feature to spread a little peace this morning.
May the peace of Christ be with you all. With today's service being intergenerational, we thought that it might be fun to hear the Genesis story in a new way using one of our favorite new children's books. This story was written by Phyllis Root and illustrated by Helen Oxenberry. We hope you enjoy Big Mama Makes the World.
When Big Mama made the world, she didn't mess around. There was water everywhere. And Big Mama saw what needed to be done all right. So she rolled up her sleeves and she went to it. Wasn't easy either, with that little baby sitting on her hip. Didn't stop Big Mama though, not for a minute. Light, said Big Mama, and you better believe there was light. Dark, said Big Mama, and there was dark, just as big as the light. You two got work to do, Big Mama said. Don't you be fooling round none. Then she looked at the light, and she looked at the dark, and she looked at that little baby, looking at the light and the dark, smiling and cooing, and Big Mama said, "That's good. That's real good." That's how the first day went by. Next day, Big Mama looked around. "Can't tell my up from my down," said Big Mama. "Better have some sky here." And there it was, one big wrapping sky over everything, soft and blue as a baby's blanket. Wasn't much else yet, but water and light and dark and sky, all doing what Big Mama wanted them to do. And Big Mama, she was pleased all right. "That's good," she said. "That's real good." That's how the second day went by. Next day, Big Mama looked around some more and she said, "Got me some light, got me some dark, but I still can't tell what time of day it is. How am I going to know when it's morning or evening? Time to put the baby down for a nap." Big Mama, she wanted to know all right, and anything Big Mama wants, Big Mama gets. That's just how it goes. "Son," said Big Mama, "you take care of this day business for me." "Moon," said Big Mama, "you take care of the night." Big Mama made the stars too, just in case old Moon overslept sometime. Big Mama looked at the sun and the moon and the stars filling up her sky just in time for the little baby's nap. And Big Mama nodded, and she smiled, and she said, "That's good. That's real good." That's how the third day went by. Next morning, Big Mama got up with the sun and she said, "I need a place to put my feet down when they need putting down." She knew there'd be some foot putting down when that baby of hers got to growing more. "Earth," said Big Mama, "get over here." And it did. All one big ball of mud it was, nothing much to look at. Baby liked it all right, just the way it was, but Big Mama wasn't finished just yet. "Need some grass to wiggle my toes in," said Big Mama. "Some big old shade trees for hanging a hammock. Papayas and oranges, boysenberries for eating on." That's how it was then. Just like Big Mama said. Little baby sucking on a mango, and grass and trees and fruit all over the place, like somebody tipped over a fruit stand. Big Mama, she looked at all that earth, and she said, "That's good. That's real good." That's how the fourth day went by. Lots of folks would be plenty pleased, but Big Mama, she doesn't quit. She doesn't quit a job till it's done and done right. Big Mama looked at all that water and all that earth and the trees and the sky and the sun and the moon and the stars, and she said, "Awful quiet down here. Better have some whales. Better have some birds. Better have some fish. And that's exactly what happened, all right. Pretty soon there were more whales and catfish and mockingbirds and crows than a little baby could shake a stick at. Which a little baby could do if a little baby wanted to, since Big Mama had already made all those trees full of sticks. Big Mama looked at all that action and she said, "That's good. That's real good." That's how the 5th day went by. Now Big Mama was about ready to be done with it all. Making a world was a lot of work, what with the laundry piling up and the dishes needing doing. She figured she better finish things off in one big bang. "I need me some creepers and crawlers," said Big Mama, "some runners and jumpers, some diggers and divers. Everybody else wants to get created. This here's your chance. Hedgehogs and night crawlers, raccoons and garter snakes, rabbits and polar bears. That's how Big Mama made them all. One big bang." But Big Mama still wasn't done. "Oh no. I'm lonely," said Big Mama. "Who's gonna sit on the front porch and swap stories with me? Not these creepers and crawlers, not these diggers and divers. They're good all right, but not one of them can tell a story worth a plug nickel. And all this little baby can say so far is goo goo gaga. I need some folks to help keep me company." So Big Mama, she scooped up some of that leftover mud, and she pushed and she pulled and she poked and she pried, and the next thing you know, there were folks everywhere. Big folks and little folks, fat folks and thin folks, all kinds of shades of folks. And every one of those folks had a story to swap with Big Mama. "That's good," said Big Mama. "That's real good." That's how the 6th day went by, with Big Mama and all those folks sitting on the porch, gabbing while the sun went down. Now Big Mama was ready for a rest all right. Ready to bundle up with that little baby of hers in that big blue blanket of the sky. But Big Mama had one more thing to do. She lined up all those folks and said, "This is a real nice world we got here, and you all better take some good care of it. I'm taking a day off to rest now, but I'll be keeping an eye on you." That's what Big Mama said, all right. And you better believe she meant it. Now every once in a while, when she's burping that baby or making cookies or rocking that little baby to sleep, Big Mama looks down and says, "Better straighten up down there." And every so often, Big Mama looks down on this nice little world. The world that she made, and she nods and she smiles and she says, "That's good. That's real good."
Hi, everybody. This is Reverend Amelia, and this is Oliver. Oliver, many of you know, I adopted in February, and so we got to know each other pretty quickly since I began working from home in March with the coronavirus. What Oliver has taught me in these past few months, as we've gotten to know a lot more about each other, he's taught me how to rest. We know that biologically, cats need so much sleep in one day. And this has been an important reminder for me. See, this spot right here on my couch is where he sits and sleeps every day. And I usually work either right here on my couch or right there at my desk. And as I'm working, he'll be snoozing away and I can hear him purring or sometimes snoring. And I will look up from my work and see this sweet sleeping cat in some of the sweetest sleeping poses too. And just in doing so, he reminds me that I need to listen to my body too, and that it is really good for me to rest as well. So there have been many days since March that I have looked up from my laptop after too many hours of Zoom, after typing too much and sending one too many emails, and seen this little sleeping cat and said to myself, "You're right, Oliver. I need to listen to my body too. I need to take a nap." And I will go into my bedroom and sometimes not even fall asleep, but just take a quick cat nap, closing my eyes, resting for just a little bit. And usually, because he follows me everywhere I go, he will walk right into the bedroom, curl up right next to me, and fall asleep there too. What Oliver teaches me about rest is also teaching me about stepping into my own self, my own being, knowing that I am beloved just the way I am, that I too need rest, and that like God has designed Oliver and his body and his need for sleep, God too has designed me, my body, and my need for sleep, even when I think I can plow through it. So thank you, Oliver. Thank you for teaching me about rest. And bless you for these gifts and these lessons and your ever-present companionship. Amen.
The whole earth is filled with awe at your wonders. Where morning dawns, where evening fades, you call forth songs of joy. When the psalmist wrote these words, I'm sure that he didn't have a dog in mind, but he might should have. Because of all the creatures in this great world of ours, is there any that respond to even the mundane with more sheer joy than our canine companions? I didn't grow up with dogs. I'm actually allergic to dogs, so though I've always loved them, they've also triggered enough histamines in me over the years that I should probably have invested in Kleenex. Yet a couple of years ago, despite my allergies, I opened my heart to our little Henry dog here, a rescue mutt from Tennessee, whose initial picture on Facebook was so ugly that I just couldn't stop thinking about him. I fell in love on the spot. A friend of ours from our church in Reading had him as a foster mom, and so we set up a meeting to get to know him a bit. And as Chad sat down on her porch, Henry just climbed right up into his lap and took a seat. And when I held him, I could feel his heart beating through his chest, just like I can right now. And mine was going just as fast, because I was scared to take on the responsibility of a dog after so many years of being a cat person. I still consider myself a cat person. I have two awesome cats. We have Bosco and Jake here at home. But having Henry has been an exercise. Yeah, it has been an exercise in opening myself up to seeing the world through the eyes of a new species, one that is seemingly wired for wonder. Henry has learned a few words. Breakfast. Yeah. Treat. And dinner are his favorites, along with, wanna go outside? And the ubiquitous, okay. Which could mean anything from, okay, we're getting out of bed, to, okay, it's fine to come and jump up on my lap. Every time he hears one of those words, his ears perk up like you saw them do to his full height, and he just looks at me expectantly. Every time Henry gets breakfast, it's as if he's never eaten breakfast before. His tail wags in joy. Every time Henry goes outside, it's as if every tree and flower and blade of grass is something new and exciting. He barks with joy as he runs circles around the entire length of our yard. And every time I wake up in the morning, it's as if we're greeting each other for the first time ever. He plays and he buries his head in my side, and he literally tries to push me out of the bed to take on the new day. And I get such a kick out of seeing Henry experience the world anew each and every day, because his excitement arises even from the most mundane moments. Another meal, another hug, another run around the yard, his tail keeping perfect pace with the beauty of the world around him. They say that dogs have 5 times as many olfactory receptors in their noses than humans do, and that's why they're so much better at receiving and identifying smells. Well, I think they might already also have 5 times as many receptors to receive this world with gratitude and with awe. The simple joys of food and fresh air, the preciousness of a warm lap and a strong hug. No matter how often he experiences them, they never get old. There is a deep and abiding spirituality in one who is able to do the same. One who can cultivate for themselves a sense of gratitude for even mundane and everyday things, for repetitive things and boring things, who can find joys in life's simple pleasures. With the psalmist, they can call forth songs of joy for the creation around them. That's my cat. That is the kind of wonder and awe that we all should try to cultivate in our own lives, in all of our creatureliness. This flesh and blood and bone body of ours gets only so much time on this beautiful earth. May we spend it cultivating a spirituality that's rooted in gratitude and awe and wonder, with our dogs' wagging tails leading the way. Are you a happy baby? Is it a happy boy? Henry!
There's so much that feels hard about life right now. Feelings that are stressful and scary, unjust. There's so much disease and dis-ease. But I'll tell you, when I cast my eyes on this little lump, all of that seems to melt away, even for a split second. This is our sweet Bosco, and boy, has he taught me a lot about love in the last 15 years of knowing him. We talk a lot in this church about Jesus' life and how he modeled a new commandment, a new way, one that's based on unconditional love, one that strives to find a kind of heaven right here on earth, rather than one some light years away. A love that, by the very nature of its purity, its unconditionality, calls us to live a life that is bigger, broader, and beyond ourselves. How can we not see that manifested every day in the lives of our pets and animals? Anyone who has a pet at home or ever has had one knows how spiritual this unconditional love is and how representative of the divine it is manifested in our everyday life. Perhaps we might even say it's a taste of heaven on earth. The unconditional love I receive from my 4-legged family is so strong that it regularly breaks my heart in a good way. Have you ever had that experience too? That one look, that nudge when you are sick, that excitement when you come home, that hard-to-win feline snuggle, that cuddle even after you've just gotten mad at them for clawing at the good furniture. I tell you, it regularly breaks my heart because, like it does when I read and study about Jesus' example of unconditional love, I am reminded again and again of how much I fall short of expressing it in my own life and how natural and beautiful and vulnerable a sacred thing it is in our lives with our animals. What an overwhelming blessing we have been given. I think we can learn a lot about spiritual wellness from having these guys in our lives. Sometimes I look into the eyes of my 4-legged family and I get this overwhelming feeling that I'm looking into the face of the divine. And I think many of us have probably felt that way, whether it's our best furry friend or listening to the birds sing outside or seeing the bunnies in our yard. And I think that sacred feeling we get so often boils down to the purity and the vulnerability of unconditional love radiating back at us. Think about that love shining at us in the midst of the brokenness in the world, in the midst of the times we ourselves mess up with showing that kind of love. I don't know about you, but there just doesn't seem to be an overabundance of truly unconditional love in our lives these days. And in the rare cases when you do see it or feel it, if you're like me, you sometimes don't even know what to do with it. So you might even deflect it or poo-poo it, or even worse yet, reject it because it's something so foreign. And I think that is why the unconditional love I experience with my pets really breaks my heart in a good way, because it's so true and so sacred, and it reminds me of the love that God has for me. So maybe a world full of unconditional love is what Jesus had in mind as a kind of heaven on earth. I'm good with that. I'm really, really good with that, as long as our teachers and exemplars continue to include these loves. May it be so.
Please join us in our hymn this morning, For the Beauty of the Earth. The words will appear on the screen, and thanks to Kat and Chris, who will lead us in our singing. At this point in the service, we'd like to invite those of you who can do so to go and to be near your animals. Put your hands on them, pet them, or if they're not near you, you can extend to them a hand of blessing in their direction. And if you have a beloved animal from your past who is no longer with you, feel free to bring them to mind now as well. Let us bless all of our wonderful animals in a spirit of prayer. We thank you, O God, for every kind of wondrous, awe-inspiring creature. We're thankful for the bond between all living creatures created by the same author, and for the memory of our kinship to the animal world. And this morning, we are especially grateful for these, our pets, who bring us joy and companionship throughout our days.
We also remember our animal companions who are no longer with us physically. We give thanks for the gifts they gave us and the variety of ways they have enriched and blessed our lives. We are confident that you, O God, continue to care for them.
God, keep us mindful of how we can bless these and all animals. May we keep them safe and fed, loved and warm all the days of their life. And may we fight for a world in which all animals are free from neglect and cruelty. Keep us mindful of the vision of the peaceable kingdom in which all living creatures live in harmony today and every day. Amen.
Amen. Today we are two congregations in one. Those of you in Reading are encouraged to send in your pledges or mail a check to 25 Woburn Street in Reading. The zip code is 01867. And those of you in Truro know that our church's mission and outreach depends on the financial support from this community. You can write a check to First Parish Truro at P.O. Box 149, Truro, Massachusetts 02666. Or go to our website, firstparishtruro.com, and click on the donate button to make a secure one-time or recurring gift to the church.
We also continue to partner with the Lower Cape Outreach Council as our mission partner this summer, and as they do the work of reaching out to our neighbors in need on the Outer Cape. And so we encourage you to see their good work in action and to give at their website, which is lcoutreach.org. We thank you in advance for taking the time to give.
Our anthem this morning is a wonderful intergenerational virtual choir that we put together with the perfect song for today. All God's Critters Got a Place in the Choir. It was written by Massachusetts native Bill Staines, and we want to thank everyone who contributed to the anthem, especially our kids and our youth. Hit it, Larry!
All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands for applause for anything they got now. Listen to the races, the one on the bottom with the bullfrog crisps and the hippopotamus spoons, the villain with the big tune, and the old cow just was moo. The dogs and the cats they take up the bill, and the honeybee hums and the crickets fill. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands and applause for anything they got now. Listen to the top where the little birds sing the melody with the high voice sing and the loud for everything.
The jaybird disagrees.
Singing in the nighttime, singing in the day. Little duck quacks and sings on his way. The possums don't have much to say, and the porcupine talks to herself. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands and applause for anything they got now. Everybody here is a part of the plan. We all get to play the great critter band on the eagle in the sky with the whale in the sea. It's one great symphony. All God's critters got a place in the choir. Some sing low, some sing high, some sing out loud on the telephone wire. Some just clap their hands and applause for anything they got now.
You're silly.
Our benediction this morning will be familiar to those of you who have joined us for animal blessings in Truro in past years. It's called Blessing in All Directions by Donna Walhert. And if you are good with directions, we invite you to reach out a hand in the directions that we name.
We look to the north and see the hardy caribou, the noble elk, the husky rolling in the snow, the salmon struggling upstream to spawn, the deer whisking his tail with elegance.
We look to the south and watch the alligator measuring the pond, the armadillo turning his armor to the world, the wings of the pelican, wood stork, heron, catching the low, warm air streams.
To the west is the rim-eyed panda, the yak, the kiwi, a koala nested in the fork of a blue gum tree, the take-charge kangaroo and wallaby leaping to attention, balancing the world on thick tails.
The red earth of the east is the setting for the stately parade of giraffe, elephant, gazelle, fringed lion, svelte tiger, portly hippo, all staking a claim for their home on the continent.
We look nearer to home and glimpse the curious Persian cat, the faithful Labrador, the regal quarter horse, the content goldfish, clever hamsters, the reptile appreciating friendship.
As we finish taking inventory, We send up a prayer of thanksgiving for these blessed animals who reflect all of creation and who share with us this air, this water, this dust.
Go from this place to love your animals and to feel their love in return, for this is the unconditional love of God. In the name of the one who created us all, amen. Go in peace.